Mirai o imani o inuite Ashiato de. Anyways, pointless spoiler alert disclaimer on screen that I put at the beginning of every anime minutes, but this is Boruto after all. So to start Boruto off, we got this nice flash forward with Boruto and Kawaki where they're having this very intense battle, and little do we know, we just get blue balled into watching a slice of life. We then have Boruto and Shikadai over here eating burgers, and I guess Boruto didn't think eating burgers himself was enough for the show, and so he stuffed some down someone's throat to promote the brand. And goddamn, why does food look so good in anime? But anyways, moving forward, we got Boruto somehow casually crashing a train into the Hokage statue. Pretty cool. And then we have this very epic fight sequence between Boruto and Kanahamaru, which the main character loses. How unfortunate. Moving forward, we then have this fight between Boruto and one of his classmates, a fight with so much importance and serves a great deal to the story. We then have students doing Rasengan Training, and then we got Kanahamaru over here Rasenganing the fuck out of this random monster, flexing on his students. Very nice. Moving forward, we then have Shino teaching his students outdoors on a whiteboard, possibly one of the more entertaining segments of Boruto. And then we then have this episode where Shino is trying to kill his own students, but unfortunately he doesn't. So this then brings us to the next episode where we have this random threat attacking the main characters, and Chocho stops the attack with her mind and simply defeats the threat with a shitty potato chip. Then of course afterwards we rendezvous at Burger King, and moving forward past that we are now in a movie theater watching a movie, like you do at a movie theater. And then after that we head to Burger King again for another juicy meal. This video is not sponsored by Burger King, by the way. And moving forward past that, we then have this epic fight between Hanabi and Boruto, which is just some friendly sparring, nothing too special happens here. And then following this event, we then have the mail delivery arc, where we deliver mail, something that is quite very exciting. And then after that, we then have the arc where the class rep is evil, and she summons this scary monster, and will she destroy the hidden leaf? Find out next time on Dragon. But yeah, we have this fight between the class rep and Mitsuki, and then Boruto breaks up the fight by spawning a random Chidori with his eye, and then shortly after that, the class rep warps herself into another dimension, which Boruto and Mitsuki follows her into, and then here they end up fighting her oversized dog and puts this bitch down. After that, they then have a round 2 with the class rep, and they defeat that bitch in an instant. And then it seems the dimension is collapsing now. Oh no. And so they hop on the class rep's doggy, and then Boruto punches a rip in the dimension where they can escape. After that, the class rep is no longer evil and everything's back to normal as if nothing happened. What an insane arc with so much progression. And to follow up this episode, we then have Shino teaching his students like the great teacher that he is. Moving forward, we are now at Burger King once again, and then we get our asses to training. Then out of nowhere, this building catches on fire, and these two side characters have to save these kids. An experience that was very, very scary. But yeah, they saved the kids. Let's go. Moving forward, Himawari is now sick. Not sure why I mentioned that detail, but yeah, she's sick. And then we got some drunk adults here. No big deal. And right here, we have the Hokage shitface. Then moving forward past that, Boruto rips Himawari's favorite doll, which was his last mistake. And right before she was about to end his career, the Hokage hops in and eats the punch, which unfortunately puts him in a coma. And this is the worst possible day where this could happen because this was the Hokage inauguration day. And so with being the true homie, Kanahamaru steps in and uses the transformation jutsu and takes Naruto's place. What a nice friend. And of course, to end off the day, we have ourselves some Ichiraku. How very yummy. Moving forward, we then have Boruto painting the Hokage statues, being the unique and original main character that he is. And then we have Sakura dying from a stroke. Later in the episode, Sarada then finds an image of Sasuke and her very real mother. And then right here, we got Choji eating a burger. I thought I would mention that because I found that quite fascinating. Anyways, moving forward, we now have the Hokage struggling to take out a level 1 AI. My boy is getting old and all, so it all makes sense. And then eventually, this threat retreats like a pussy. So then moving forward, Sarada meets up with her father after like hundreds of years, and oh look, Sakura's alive. Naruto and Sasuke then find themselves fighting two threats, one being this small dude and the other being this older dude. Sasuke simply spits some fire on the kid threat and takes him out, and Naruto takes a sword to the stomach like a nerfed legend. Sasuke of course wanted to copy his rival and take some damage as well, eating some blades to the back. And then we have best girl Sakura coming in and saving the day and role plays as Saitama for 1 second. We then have this one minion trying to use the Kamui on Sarada, but then Mama Sakura comes in and takes her place. Or it may not be the Kamui exactly, but yeah, she gets warped into some place. The main cast then goes on a rescue mission, traveling in Sasuke's Susanoo. Didn't know Susanoo's can act as air transfer, but I guess it's possible. And upon their arrival, they are then welcomed by some random minions which they had to fight, while Sakura's over here taking on the big guy. And this fight is so legendary because Sakura actually gets screen time of her actually doing something. But anyways, after defeating the big guy and not really defeating the minions, they then decide to make peace with the minions and bring them over to Kanahar because they're not a threat whatsoever. And then of course, to end off the arc, we have the classic head tap. Whatever happened to Itachi? So moving forward, we now have Boruto out here doing some graffiti again on the Hokage statue because he's a very original main character. And then afterwards, Boruto and his classmates go on a trip to the Hidden Mist where they play a nice game of Uno. Also, upon their arrival, Boruto plays kendo with some dude, and then afterwards, Boruto and Sarada grab some squid. Not sure why I include that in this video, but yeah, they eat some squid. And then after that, Boruto's classmate gets in a fight with some random thug. And it seems the thugs didn't have enough the first time and appear again in the next episode and gets pooped on again. And then after that, we play another game of Uno. Moving forward, as Boruto and this one dude is about to do some training, this Kisame ripoff appears out of nowhere and disrupts the fun. Boruto then tries to fight him and gets absolutely pooped on. Then this great value Kisame squad pulls up out of nowhere to talk some shit, and Boruto's newfound friend joins them and betrays him. Moving forward with this being a shonen, Boruto pulls up with his squad to take out the bad guys. And the Mizukage doesn't only take out one opponent, not two, but three. What a very strong shinobi. Then we got Boruto's classmate out here getting a good slash in there, making his opponent fucking self-destruct. And then we got Sarada out here dropping a nuke on her opponent. Very cool. Which now leaves Boruto in a fight with his traitor friend. And after a short time, they then make up and team up to defeat great value Kisame, because even they knew he was an absolute disgrace of a replacement. So after all that, all is forgiven, and Boruto and his classmates leave the trip on a cruise, and they head back to Konoha where Boruto plays some cards with this grandma. Moving forward, we now have this painting arc with Inojin, which is really interesting. And then following that, we then have back-to-back banger arcs, and we have this phenomenal arc where we go fishing, which we had the whole squad struggling to catch one fish. Luckily, they were all strong enough to defeat this fish and afterwards eat it. Moving forward, we then have this arc where the Jonin bullied the academy students, and after a good while of bullying, they then spawn in some headbands and say, yo, you guys all passed, you guys are getting now, have a nice day. Moving forward, we then have this bad guy who stabs the civilian right through his heart, and after this beautiful animation sequence, he disappears after throwing a flashbang down. I feel like they could have defeated him there, but I feel like they just wanted to do that just so they could stretch the arc. But moving past that, we then get a round 2 with this threat, and Sarada one punches the fuck out of him, and then we also have this other threat which Kanahamaru flexes extra hard and uses the Rasengan and not really hit him, but the shockwave was enough to take him out. And then after that, we return to the hidden leaf like nothing ever happened. Moving forward, Shikadai finds a buddy to play shogi with, and during this arc, Tamari kills Shikamaru and Shikadai. Nothing too out of the ordinary. And then moving a little forward, some bad guys appear in town, and Tamari, being the alpha female, takes them on in an insane battle, and they get away. So back to Burger King we go. Then moving forward, turns out Shikadai's friend is actually the villain for this arc, and he rage quits this shogi match in a temper tantrum and runs away. Then afterwards, the bad guys then steal this scroll that contains data for every ninjutsu in the shinobi world, so they can really just sell this for the big bucks in the black market. Shikamaru then comes out of nowhere and one-taps one of these fools. Meanwhile, Boruto and Shikadai chases the other fools that got away with the scroll thing, and it turns out to be this old dude and Shikadai's shogi buddy. They then have this intense, insane, incredible fight, and they were so much to handle that the Hokage even had to pull up. And yeah, with all that said and done, the bad guys are now taken care of and the arc is now over. We then have this episode where the side character cries like a baby after receiving his forehead protector from the Hokage. Not sure why I included that in here, but yeah, that happened. And then following that, we then have this furry episode where the characters dress up as furries. Then afterwards, we have Kanahamaru and Hanabi getting drunk here. Not sure why this is the episode, but yeah, that happened. And then after that, we then have an episode where Boruto cries like a bitch because his dad is too busy. What a fucking loser. And then following that, we then have Team 7 going on a mission where they go into this cave. And in this cave, they get attacked by this very scary monster. And it turns out that this monster is a Pack-a-Punch Zetsu, which then Kanahamaru goes in for an attack and gets absolutely wrecked. Shortly after that, the white Zetsu retreats crying for whatever reason. And so they chase this white Zetsu, throwing explosive kunais at it to bait it out. And with one sip of Rasengan, they take it out. Or not really they, because Kanahamaru was literally the only one that really did anything. Anyways, going deeper into this cave, they then find some decomposed white Zetsus laying around, and some that have like 20 faces on them. So yeah, nothing really happens here, and I really just wasted your time explaining all that. So now returning to the important stuff, we are now back at Burger King with Boruto and his friends playing video games. Later that day, Boruto's family all gets together to celebrate Himawari's birthday, with Naruto bringing out the cake and despawning. Sasuke then pulls up later that night for some cake, and Hinata tells him the unfortunate news, and so afterwards he goes back home very sad. Moving forward, we now have Boruto doing some Rasengan training, and after failing for so long, he went home a loser. And upon returning home, he then goes and bakes a cake with Himawari, and in the process of doing that, he then learns the Rasengan somehow, and after learning the technique, he then applies it to his training and successfully pops a water balloon with his chakra. And moving past that, he then learns how to pop a rubber ball, blah blah blah, and afterwards flexing to Sasuke that he could do it, and requesting that he could be his student. But then Sasuke was like, yo, that shit's small as hell. And so Boruto runs home crying. And through sheer desperation, Boruto instantly goes to hacks and installs ninjatool.exe, which automatically allows him to use any jutsu in the world without any restrictions. Showing Sasuke his newfound powers, Sasuke then accepts him as a student, even though he knows he's up to some bullshit. Moving forward, the tuning exams is now starting. And for the first stage, it's pretty much a test to test genetics. And if you don't have a jutsu that can keep your ass from falling into ink, well, you're a failure. A very fair test indeed, which of course the main characters pass with flying colors. The next stage stage is the capture the flag stage, which the objective is to capture the flag. Definitely something that's not self-explanatory, but with the little cheesing, the main characters passed this too. And Boruto's performance was so good to the point where Naruto pulls up to his room to give him a fist bump. But would you believe this? This bitch left the Hokage hanging! And so Naruto left in despair. Moving forward to the next stage of the tuning exams, we got the best part where the participants all fight in a 1v1. The first round is with Burrito and Bubblegum Boy, and with sheer legitimacy, Boruto pulls through and destroys his opponent. The next round is with Shikadai and this blonde girl. Of course, with having 300 IQ in your genetics, Shikadai outplays this fool, which then brings us to our next match with Sarada and this other blonde character, and we have another One Punch Man moment. Moving on to the next match, we have Inojin and a masked man, and it seems like drawings were not enough, and Inojin gets absolutely whacked by this dude's stick. And so going to the next match, we have Mitsuki and this chubby boy with a cosmetic random large shuriken on his back, and I mean main characters never lose, so yeah. And so going on to the next match, we have Chocho and the Iron Sand Boy, and Chocho takes an L. Then in this next match, we have Shikadai and Boruto, and with 100% legitimacy, Boruto wins like a goddamn champion. This then brings us to our next match with Sarada going up against the masked dude, and of course, with being the main character, the masked dude gets clapped and one-tapped by the Fireball Jutsu. And going into the next match, we have Mitsuki and the Iron Sand Boy, but Mitsuki wasn't really feeling it, and he surrenders the match. And so this now brings us to the final stage, where we have a three-way battle royale with Boruto, Sarada, and the Iron Sand Boy. Sarada dies in the process, leaving Boruto as the final hope to defeat this man, which he does very legitly. But then Naruto was like, oh hell no, I ain't forget when you left me hanging. Look guys, my son's a goddamn cheater, and as Hokage, I will disqualify this dumb bitch. Give me this goddamn headband. And after that, this is when the bad guys, Hishiki and Momoshiki, appears and wreaks havoc. And as a result, Naruto throws away his life for his village like the noble Hokage that he is. The end. Oh, wait, there's more. Well, apparently he's not dead, and Boruto is brought to this dimension along with Sasuke, who created the portal. And of course, we got this goofy-ass dude stealing people's drip. And right here, we see Naruto getting sucked dry, but he is soon after saved by his comrades. And through desperation, Momoshiki absorbs Kinshiki without a second thought, and now enters his god mode. Naruto and Sasuke then have this very epic fight with him, which I'm sure you're seeing this for the first time. And then we got this very emotional and nostalgic Rasengan where we get to see Naruto's past and whatnot. Then Boruto stuffs this very thick Rasengan in Momoshiki's mouth, and then we have this small scene regarding Boruto's hidden powers, which I'm sure is not even all that important, right? And yeah, we have a very nice kaboom here. There goes the bad guy. Let's head back home. Moving forward, we then enter the Chocho Love Arc, which is my favorite arc out of the entirety of Boruto, which has quite the most unfortunate ending, and they don't get together. Oh no! We then have this arc where Iwabe and Metal Lee lose to a handicapped man, and then moving forward, Mitsuki leaves the Hidden Leaf like Sasuke did. Such an original idea that has never been done before. And so with Mitsuki leaving the village, of course, Boruto and Sarada chase after him. And with Sarada and Boruto leaving the Hidden Leaf then dispatches Team 10 to retrieve them. Moving forward, Team 10 does catch up to Boruto and Sarada, and soon after, the members of Team 10 all ditch their sensei and joins Boruto's group to retrieve Mitsuki. And after 5 episodes, they manage to find Mitsuki, just for Mitsuki to say, get the fuck out of my face. All that work for nothing. Feels bad, man. And after that action, Mitsuki then finds a new squad to chill with. And we know how this goes. Boruto is the main character and does not get discouraged by this. And so he continues his journey to retrieve Mitsuki, bumping into the third Tsuchikage in the process. And may I ask, how is this guy still alive after all this time? But yeah, fast forwarding a bit, we are now randomly on a detour, roasting bugs and eating them. And then moving forward, we have Boruto fighting a red-colored pencil. And after struggling a little bit, luckily for him, reinforcements come in to help. And right before this man was gonna end their careers, he just dies. Well, that was anticlimactic. And after more fighting, it results in more fodder villains' deaths. Then we have Boruto and Sarada getting stuck in rock, and Boruto is like, hey yo, Mitsuki, stop being a little bitch. And with the main character status, he convinces Mitsuki to switch sides and backstab his boys. Anyways, afterwards, we have more fighting and stuff, and this girl dies, and soon after, this dude dies. How very sad. Let me get the soundboard out. And after those two villains died, we are then left with this last booger to take out, which Mitsuki goes all out in this fight and goes Super Saiyan. And after seeing these kids struggle with this threat, the old man decides to step up and shows the young generation how it's done, simply one-shotting him with his cube attack. Mitsuki then says, thank you guys for coming for me, like nothing ever happened, and they return back to the Hidden Leaf. Which leads us to our next arc, the Parent-Child Day arc, an incredibly exhilarating arc where we have this epic food-eating competition, and Sasuke for once acts like a father. Like what? And after some more random events, which I'm sure plays a huge role to the story, we are then introduced to the Licker, the guy who licks all things. Team 7 and Team 15 are then assigned a mission to investigate some place to find the cause to its injured wildlife, and also investigating the cause of them being aggressive and attacking people. Definitely a mission I would love to grab some popcorn and sit through. Alongside them, they also bring the Licker along, which is a great addition to the team. And moving forward, as they are traveling, Boruto gets attacked by a bird, and as a result, he fucking murders it. I wonder what Peter has to say about this. Soon after, a wild Jugo appears and slams Boruto to the ground. But unfortunately, before he was able to do his finishing blow, the class rep's Pokemon comes in and knocks him off. Moving forward, they then come in contact with some zombies and they find Jugo again. And of course, with this being a shonen, they fight him again. And this gives Kanahamaru the opportunity to flex once more, and he solos Jugo. After defeating Jugo, he's now back to his senses, but that is very short-lived and he goes berserk again. And as a result, they had to put him down like a dog and chain that bitch. With Jugo restrained, Boruto then tries to help out a homie, but is soon after stopped by the Licker, who is apparently evil. What a crazy turn of events! The Licker then undergoes his level 1 transformation, and after getting hit by some explosive kunais, he undergoes another transformation, which makes him look even more uglier. Jugo then pulls up and sucks him dry, taking all his powers away, which now leaves us with Jugo as the final boss. And with the power of friendship and learning from his father, Boruto simply talked no jutsus Jugo back to normal. And this concludes the arc, and we have a nice, beautiful sunrise to end the day. Or to start the day, technically. The following episode, we then have this incredible arc where Mitsuki takes care of a cat. Best 20 goddamn minutes of my life. And now moving even more forward, we now enter our next arc with Asuma's daughter Mirai going on a trip with Kakashi and Guy. On this trip, we happen to encounter Kiba, who is having a fight with this cat lady. And so we have this dog and cat debate, and after all this chaos happens, they hold hands and make up. Yeah. I remember the time when Kiba wanted to become Hokage. Good times. Anyways, moving forward, we have Choji eating potato chips, and then afterwards, Mirai goes into this underground cave where they meet a great value version of Hidan. After talking his shit, he then puts Mirai under the same jutsu that her father took an L to. But luckily, with the power of plot armor, she pulls through and wipes the floor with him. How do you lose to a child? Anyways, moving forward, we are now going on a mission with this pig with the ultimate goal to get this glowing flower, which, yeah, we get it. Very nice. And so moving forward past that, we are now entering the Kanahamaru Love Arc, where Kanahamaru finds his true love. They even go through the true romantic experience and order fresh lemon burgers off the Burger King menu. They even included the peels in there for extra flavor. And so to conclude this arc, Kanahamaru goes like, you know what, she ain't for me. I'll just take 1 hour of the viewer's time, no big deal. And so moving forward, we have Boruto boarding a train to this very sandy area. There he randomly encounters Sasuke fighting this Otsutsuki alongside with Gaara. And here we have the writers trolling us and nerfing Sasuke to the point where he takes an L to a fishing rod. A fishing rod. And to put the icing on the cake, he gets warped into another dimension like an idiot. Gaara then seals the one tail in a tea kettle and gives it to Boruto and the Iron Sand Boy to deliver it to the Hokage's office. And after a little bit of hardship, they make it. How very unpredictable. I did not expect that either. And then afterwards, we have this nice little arc with baby Shukaku and Himawari having some bonding time. How very wholesome. And so moving forward past that, we now have this Otsutsuki trying to time travel back in time to steal the chakra from the Nine Tails when Naruto was just a kid. Not sure why you can't do it with the current day Naruto, because I mean the writers tend to have a tendency with trolling, with power scaling and whatnot. But anyways, as he's attempting to time travel, he is then interrupted by Boruto and Sasuke, who conveniently make their appearances. And they instead take his place to time travel to the past and knock this bitch off stage like they're playing Smash Bros. Now that they are back in time, we get to see the pre-time skip versions of the original Naruto cast, and even Jiraiya. And man, why did you have to lose to a Splinter? But anyways, the Otsutsuki finds his way back, and we have this insane fight with incredible animation. Like, look at these after images. Like, this is just insane. And then we have some truly incredible work here, where we have Naruto simply just running. And then afterwards, we have the next episode where, you know, there's just a slight improvement in the animation. And yeah, they defeat the scrub with that juicy father and son combo. And then after that, Boruto and Sasuke return to the present like nothing ever happened. And moving forward, Boruto and Mitsuki are now in jail. How did they get here? I don't know. Well, all I do know is that we have an ugly bastard for the guard. And through this whole experience, a whole lot of nothing happens. And then we got this final boss prisoner that emerges. This guy is so deadly, and his ability is to create clone shadows of his opponents to fight for him, which simply gets erased by having a flashlight pointed at it. Which then after that, this prisoner and this prisoner falls underwater very dramatically, but this one manages to come up first while the other one seems like he drowned. But little did you know, this one is actually the imposter, and he's actually the other prisoner that fell. And the way he achieved the stunt was by eating the other prisoner and transforming into him. So with that said, they return back to the Hidden Leaf, bringing this bozo along. And right here we can see the imposter transform into his original form. Wouldn't you say that's quite sus? But yeah, with this bad guy in the Hidden Leaf, we then start our next arc with the spoiled rich kid who has every card imaginable in this Naruto gacha game. Boruto soon befriends him, and right after that happens, this kid gets kidnapped by his butler, who happens to be that same dude who transformed into that one prisoner. And being the hungry hippo that he is, he then tries to eat this kid, but Boruto in shonen fashion appears on time to save the day. And with being the weakest main character across any shonen, his squad pulls up to finish up the job. And now this guy's chained up against his own will. Feels bad, man. Moving forward, we now have Chocho and Anko mad about Azuki beans not being delivered to this store. And so we spend an entire episode finding the Azuki beans and destroying the thieves that stole them. After that, we get a happy ending where we get to eat some sweet bean soup. Hooray. And so moving forward past that, we're now introduced to the Kata Clan, just about 150 episodes in. Not too shabby for pacing. Team 7 then gets a mission to track the guys that stole the Hashirama cell, and on this mission they encounter this one dude whose jutsu is literally just quicksand, which we spent an entire episode in it, and in the end the dude pussies out and cancels the jutsu, so that was 20 minutes well spent. And then after that they then encounter Deepa, a terrifying dude with so much power, even making Super Saiyan Mitsuki shiver in fear and retreating with his teammates. And moving forward, we now have Kanahamaru fighting a bootleg version of the Divine Tree, and while that's happening, Boruto and Sarada arrive at the scene and gets a rematch with Deepa, and with the power of friendship, they take him out. We then return to the Hidden Leaf where we have a funeral to pay respects to those who took L's during the 4th Great Ninja War. And then moving forward past that, we have Naruto and Boruto having a nice little spar match, and Boruto gets outplayed by his old man. How very unexpected. After that, Boruto then goes on a mission along with his fellow squad mates, and this is when that one irrelevant dude from Shippuden decides to act up and be the villain here, pulling out a whole ass minigun. The f this is GTA? Kanahamaru's homie then steps up and tanks the L here, and it was all for nothing because Ao manages to survive the cave collapsing, so rest in peace, what a sad fate. And so they had to fight Ao again in a very epic battle and actually defeat him this time. This is when they find Kawaki laying in the fields, finally catching up to some manga content, and shortly after finding him, he wakes up ready to throw hands. And so he fights this level 1 AI and absolutely claps him. Kawaki then gets restrained and brought back to the Hidden Leaf, but being very tactical, he escapes and eats a glizzy off the ground. We then have a flashback of Kawaki's tragic backstory, and the episode after that, Naruto takes him in as family. How very nice. Boruto and Kawaki then build this brotherly bond over time, kind of like those two characters I can't really remember the name of. So moving forward, we have Boruto doing some more training with his dad, which he never learns from his mistakes. And then we have Boruto and Kawaki sparring, and then this bitch comes out of nowhere and interrupts. So Naruto steps up and takes out this threat, and afterwards stares at her under boob. And so moving even more forward, we then have Sasuke entering another dimension and sees the very scary Ten Tails. Shortly after, Jigen pulls up and absorbs the Ten Tails chakra and gets a cheeky little power up. After receiving the buff, Jigen then pulls up to the Hokage's house like a Chad and takes everyone out, even the almighty Hokage, which we could just blame age for this blunder. And yeah, after wiping everyone, Jigen then drags Naruto with him into another dimension, and in this other dimension, Naruto and Sasuke join up and fight Jigen together in this very epic fight, which Naruto and Sasuke gets absolutely washed this fight. After claiming victory, Jigen then retreats for the time being because his body is falling apart, and soon after, Boruto, Sarada, Mitsuki, and Kawaki transfer over to this dimension as reinforcements. They then end up having to fight this white-haired dude. Man's old as f, how can they possibly lose? And after struggling for some time, Boruto gets sick of this shit and goes Ultra Instinct and one-taps this dude. After that, everyone goes back to the Hidden Leaf and gets treated at the hospital, and we have a nice intermission period. Moving forward, we now have this dude who looks like Jiraiya, fights like Jiraiya, because he's actually Jiraiya's clone. And just to troll the viewers, they have him die a second time by Jigen's hands, or I'm sorry, to get more technical, Ishiki Otsutsuki's hands, because I guess seeing him die once wasn't enough. After that, Ishiki then warped himself to the Hidden Leaf looking for Kawaki so he can use his body as a new vessel, because Jigen's body, this shit's falling apart. And with him appearing in the Hidden Leaf, this is when we have all the Hidden Leaf shinobi all join forces to take him down, and miserably fails. Naruto and Sasuke then have to step up once again, and Boruto manages to get thrown into the equation and warps Ishiki into another dimension with him. Soon after, Naruto and Sasuke joins them, and in this dimension they resume their fight, with Naruto getting destroyed, Sasuke getting destroyed, and Boruto getting destroyed. This is when things got desperate, and Naruto had to release his Bankai. And then we have this very nice and beautiful fight sequence where Ishiki and Naruto are throwing hands, and it seems like Naruto's the one who has the upper hand here. But for some reason, even with the power up, Naruto still finds a way to throw. Ishiki then brings Kawaki's ass into this dimension, after detecting that Naruto has been sharing his chakra with Kawaki through his prosthetic arm. And with Ishiki's body on a 5-minute time limit before he self-destructs and dies, he goes and tries to catch Kawaki before that happens. And so we have a nice friendly game of Tom and Jerry going on here. And after stalling the time limit, Ishiki crumbles up like a Nature Valley granola bar and gets stomped on. This is when Boruto goes crazy mode and gets possessed by Momoshiki once again, first time being when he one-tapped the old dude, and he stabs Sasuke's Rinnegan out. Not sure how you can have the Sharingan and the Rinnegan and not have the reaction time to, get out of the way. But anyway, shortly after that, Boruto comes to his senses again, and since Naruto went all out before and went through that transformation, that resulted in him losing Kurama because Kurama died. So I suppose we get a double combo of nerfs in this episode. God damn it, Kishimoto. Well, anyways, they then warp out of this dimension, and yeah, that's all for now. Drop a like if you want to see a part 2. 100k likes is the goal, because going through these episodes were not easy.